What is going on, Homebrew Vehicle Sandbox? This is Sean K116, and today I'm bringing you more of just a feedback kind of review of things I'd like to see added to the game. Now, there isn't really going to be much as a video because I am currently learning some of the new parts that are in the game with uh, the paid version. Previously, I have been using the free version, so a big shout out to Sir Squash, that's one word on YouTube, and then on the forums, his name is going to be, I think it's Sir Squash 420. Let me just double check and verify that so I can give you the correct name. Yes, it is Sir Squash 420. Big shout out to him. He had a spare serial code for the paid version of the game that he had won in a previous competition. So big thanks to him. I'm definitely looking forward to learning these new parts so I can create some better builds. The only downside, a word of caution, if you're currently using the free version of the game off of Steam or the website, and if you get the paid version of the game, I would highly recommend before installing the paid version to make a backup of your builds, because unfortunately for me, I lost all my builds when the new version of the game was installed, which is kind of a bummer, but at the same time, that's fine. Now that I have more experience, I know from the very get-go I can start building higher quality builds and cars, vehicles, planes, and stuff like that. So it will be a few days of me doing off-camera work, just getting used to some of these parts, the new parts, and then I will, start uploading again. So that is that. Now in the background for this video is probably just going to be a picture. You can get up, walk around, minimize the screen, and just listen to what I have. That way you're not sitting there staring at a blank screen pretty much the entire time. Like I said, I don't have any videos right now that I'm going to be putting on the background. This is just going to be straight up just an audio review thoughts video. So thank you for coming out, and I hope that you enjoy. The first things first, mirror build. Now what I mean by mirror build, now if you watch my videos, especially the rally truck, there was a lot of going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth onto each side, checking to make sure everything was exactly the same and symmetrical. So what I'd like to do with mirror build is have an option to enable and disable, because you don't want it on all the time, and then B, sectoring. So you could either have it mirror build via on the horizontal axis, so your left and right, or on the vertical, or however else that you'd like to do it on. So you got your X, Y, and Z axis that you can mirror build on. So say you want to make certain parts on the left side match the right side and have it auto build at the same time with you. That way it's building as you're building, so that way you can really take the time to say, I do or don't like this look, and you can stop it before you go through all the work of building on both sides, making it look good, and then deciding that it doesn't really work for you. Alright, this next thing, it's been a hassle for me, I gotta be honest. It does take away from the game a little bit, but not really in a big way. It's just kind of a annoyance, and that is keybind profiles. So on most of my vehicle builds, I've had to change a few of the keybinds, and that's because for a car build, the binds work fine. But however, if I make a boat, well, now that I'll be making a boat, but I meant to say airplane, it kind of creates an issue, because the way I have my binds for a car doesn't exactly work for a airplane, because I have them set up in a specific way when I'm on a plane and using throttle control and RPM range, whereas with the car, it's just press and go. There's no watching your RPM level, and there's no throttling up, throttling down like you would with the airplane. So what I'd like to see with the keybind profiles is, profile A, profile B, profile C, and D, or however many. kind of like you would for your keyboard or mouse if you have a nice gaming one or a more advanced one. That way you can press a single button and now your binds are all set automatically. You go to profile B, say that's your airplane one, press the enable that, and then now all your binds are there. You don't have to change anything because they're already saved. You're just swapping through them. So I think that would be a huge improvement to how the keybind system works. Next up is the engine types. Now right now for a car vehicle, you have your little kind of like ATV style engine, and then you have the big single V6. Uh, I'd like to expand upon that. Let's see 4 cylinders, 6 cylinders, 8 cylinders, inline, V, different types of motors, and give them the, ability to tune the motor. So maybe I want to take that V6 and have, more low end torque and not really worry about the high end speed, or maybe I want to take and do the opposite. I want to have a little bit on the less acceleration, but I want it to have a greater top speed. And right now, you can't really do that. There is in the options the ability to change the engine ever so slightly, but by what I've done with it, it doesn't really change anything. Sometimes it wouldn't even let me mess with it. And I'll try to get a screenshot of that exact option that I'm talking about, because right now I'm just looking at my desktop because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to have in the background of this audio. Because, like I said, with this new version, I haven't really gotten started or learned everything yet. So I'll have to decide that later. Excuse me. The next thing to go with those engines is maybe like a turbo or supercharger, something that isn't just coded there, but a physical thing that you can add to the engine. That way it actually looks like it has a turbo or supercharger on it. I think that would be awesome aesthetically. So whenever you're building a car and you really want to make it look good and realistic, you have those on there instead of just pressing the button or something like that. Kind of like the NOS tank. You actually see a physical NOS tank that you're adding to it. So yeah, the next thing up, custom wheel sizes. Now, what I mean by that is, right now we currently have the normal, the big, and the huge. Now, what I'd like to see is you select what kind of tire you want. So you want dirt or road or the F1 or monster truck, and instead of it being pre-sized, you kind of click in the middle of the wheel hub area, and then while you're left click, you drag it out, and it auto creates a circle, and that circle represents the diameter of your wheel. That way you're not limited to just 3 different sizes. You now have any size you want to make, and then you would into left click and the circle would be created. Then you would right click on the center of that hub and you would drag it out so you create your width. That way you can have custom tires, custom skinny tires, custom fat tires, big humongous tires, or small different ones. That way you have more freedom to create your own look, your own feel, instead of the generic always looking the exact same with the normal, big, and huge. So yeah. Another thing that I would like to see is also following on that customization side is the ability to change the color of the pipes and the cubes. Because when you're building, the pipes are black, the cubes are gray, or lighter gray if you have 2 cubes or more inside of one another. So that way, if I want to say I want to make some crazy monster truck and make it try to look like the Gravedigger, I can make those pipes be like a neon green, and then the blocks either a neon green or black. That way it looks more like what I'm trying to build, and it adds a little bit of customization. Because right now, whenever you're in the world and the map, everything is the exact same color tone. You can't really tell the difference between the frame, the pipes, and the cubes, and so it really takes away some of that detail that you're trying to put in with your framework. And I think being able to change those colors would be a great improvement to making your vehicle look that much more unique. Another thing that has really been irking me is the driver's seat. You only have one kind of seat in the game, so if you make a multi-passenger vehicle, all of them have steering wheels and all of them have pedals like they're the driver, and it looks kind of weird, to say the least. So I'd like to see, there's no need for a huge amount of seats, but I'd say, a good amount would be 3 to 4. You have your driver, you have your front seat, then you have your rear seats. So that's 3 right there. And then the only other one that I would change is maybe a fourth one, which would be a different driver seat. That way it's not always the exact same. And at that point you can, make it look more realistic instead of having 4 seats or 2 seats that have the steering wheel and everything. It looks kind of goofy. And to expand on that, once again going to the customization side of it, being able to edit the colors of what the steering wheel is, the seat, the feet, that the part where your feet are going in, and that way, adds another level of customization. Suspension. Now I was going over this in one of my other vids that I'd like to see it, and in the paid version they have a type of suspension that you can get. Usually in my videos you saw me use those wheel hubs, orange pieces that came down connect to the tire. In the paid version they have the suspension wheel hubs, and basically it's kind of like a V-bar on the left and right side of that wheel hub. The only thing difference, if you imagine that wheel hub and then put pipes coming up the left and right side at an angle to the top, that's what it's like. You can change the force, which is how much it is pushing down on the tires, and then you have your damper, so whenever you take a bump, how much deflection and rebound you get from, going over a bump, kind of like a real car. Hope that I use those terms correctly. I'm not the biggest car buff, so I do apologize for that. And then let's see here. The next thing. Also, okay, with going into the creative pipe tool, creating your custom frames, I've noticed that in car A, I make this part, we'll call it rooftop, and I save it, and I start my next build, we'll call it car B. When I go into car B build, the rooftop part that I created in car A is no longer there, so I have to recreate it in the new build. What I'd like to see is that change to, once you create a piece, it is there in all your builds, not just that one, because that way you're not recreating all these parts over and over and over again for some of the really generic ones that you're going to use a lot for a car build or a truck build or airplane. And I think that would really help. And say that you make a piece by accident where you no longer need it, and you don't, have it kind of like the your inventory or whatever for your cars. You would simply click on them and say remove, and then that way you're not cluttering yourself up with a bunch of parts that you'll never need again because they were one-offs. And I think that would definitely help with that. Okay, the next thing would be, oh yeah, regarding the suspension, I forgot to mention, I'd like to see, different options for it, whether it's a leaf spring or more of like a rock crawler coilover style. That way there's variations. I haven't really played much with the current suspension, and I'll definitely give feedback on that after I put some time in with it. That way I can give you, accurate reviews of it. The next thing that I'd like to see is the player models. Give us the ability to change them up, whether it's the clothes or male or female, or create our own player name. Because right now, you go in there, you talk to Danny, and you basically have a name already. It's not your name. It's not a name you even came up with. It's just a name. So there's really no connection to that player, to the player model. So yeah, that's something else. Going back to the building perspective, is sometimes you need to go out of your way, create maybe an L shape to put something in the vehicle and make it look right. But that frame, that L shape, you don't want people to see that. And I think a great example is going to Gary's mod. Sometimes you build something, but certain parts you don't want to be seen, so you can make them invisible. And I think something like that in this game would be also a great addition. So that way, whenever you're creating support bars or something that you don't really need to see, because it won't make your build look as clean, and it really will help, give you a better looking vehicle in the end, I do believe. So that is one thing. Um, Damage physics would be awesome. Uh, Say you crash your plane, your wings break off, or your engine will no longer operate. Um, I understand that at the moment that this game is more of just a build, not really damage or the best handling physics right now, which is understandable. Uh, as as well with this and everything else I'm mentioning, I understand that the game is pre-alpha. They've got plenty of time to improve and add these things. So I just want to mention and throw that out there that what I'm saying is I'm trying to give them ideas to improve the game, but understandable I can't be as critical because the game is in pre-alpha and I'm merely giving them a helping hand to go and continue to go in the right direction that they have been going. Okay, so the next thing with physics, I have noticed that you can take an airplane or a car and you can drive them straight into the ocean and keep on going. I don't quite understand that. Once again, I think it's because it's pre-alpha and eventually you can change that. I would hope that they're going to. If you go in the water with an engine, you should flood it. Your car should die. If you fly your plane into the water, I should not be able to fly underwater and then come right back out and keep on flying. It just doesn't seem right. So yeah, I always thought that was pretty funny. And with that, I think a great addition to the game would be custom spawn points. I've mentioned this in another video, so I won't say too much about it. But in the example that, say you fly your plane into the water and it dies, press a button and automatically you're teleported to wherever you set your custom spawn point. And then that way you're not stuck trying to swim to land and then spawn another vehicle and keep going. But that way, as soon as you're in the water and you're stuck, just press a button, go back to your custom spawn point, and keep going on. Now, with that principle, I'd like to see the movement speed increased a bit on foot. Because right now, it's pretty slow, it feels, to me anyways. And it just seems to take... Sorry about that, a little bit of tongue-tied. It seems to me to take too long on foot, and there's really no reason to really ever be on foot, but at the times when you are, I'd like to be able to move a little bit quicker, and so yeah. And with being on foot, an option to crouch, so you can really try to get some of those camera angles for whenever someone's flying by or driving by or anything like that, so you can get better angles with the camera to take those pictures. Let's see, I'm sorry. Okay, maps. Now, right now, there really is only the two maps. There's the ones with your normal road map, and then there is the test map, which you see me use a lot, which is perfectly flat and it's just a big open area. I'd like to see maps dedicated to different things, whether it's racing or flying or just general build or kind of like a off-road rally road up the mountains, and then kind of add more to the free roam aspect of the game. Right now there's just the open map and you can do race objectives or that alien thing where you have to go and shoot them down, just add more to it. And then, we can create more scenarios. Yeah. right now that looks to be like everything that I had written down. I'm not seeing anything else. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else. Sorry for that delay there. Just I was reading through my list to make sure I covered everything. And as I, get more ideas and thoughts and stuff, I'll create those lists and then make a video as well. This is Sean K116 from the Homebrew Vehicle Sandbox. I hope to see you all in the forums and your YouTube channels. I have enjoyed watching some of y'all's videos, so keep them up. I hope that y'all all take care. This is Sean K116 signing out. Peace.